Hi everyone, welcome back to Beerich Podcast. So as you can see, Vinod sir is out of station. For the next few days, we are going to do a stream video only.
Mm.
So the topic which I have chosen is petrodollar agreement. Last week, this has been the news which has been going on in the international market. So why did Saudi Arabia fail to renew the petrodollar agreement? What are the consequences of Saudi Arabia not renewing the petrodollar agreement?
Okay. In 1970s,
Hmm.
there was a problem in the
Okay.
world economy. We had an oil crisis. What
Hmm.
happened was Saudi Arabia and these other countries created something known as the OPEC,
Okay.
which is countries which produce oil. They all got together and they decided we need to leverage this oil price and we need to work together because we are being taken for a ride. So
Hmm.
what happened was overnight they increased the price of oil together. So
Okay.
this led to a crisis. There was an
Hmm.
energy crisis. US, which was primarily dependent on Saudi Arabian
Hmm.
oil, suddenly was jammed up.
Hmm.
So to make sure in future this does not happen, they
Hmm.
created something known as the petrodollar agreement in
Okay.
1970s. Okay, so what is the main essence of this agreement was oil sales will be in dollar.
Okay.
Saudi Arabia agrees to sell oil exclusively in US dollars. That means
Hmm.
it will be only accepting payment in US dollars.
Hmm.
Then, two, Saudi Arabia agreed to invest a significant portion of its dollar earning from oil back in the US financial market. That means
Okay.
it makes the US dollar, which was receiving, will come back to US.
Hmm.
And what did Saudi Arabia get? Saudi Arabia guarantees, military guarantees from the US
Hmm.
that the military support and equipment will be given to Saudi Arabia
Hmm.
and it will make sure there's political backing. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's royal family will be supported and helped by the US government. Make sure nobody
Okay.
can challenge Saudi Arabian royal family.
Hmm.
And this partnership also aligned with regional, whatever Saudi Arabia wanted regionally.
Hmm.
That is to Saudi Arabia didn't like Iran because of religious reasons. So US would support Saudi Arabia's fight against Iran and things like this.
Okay.
So this was the main reason. The main reason, what was the benefit for the US was it helped US stabilize their energy needs.
Hmm.
It increased the demand for US dollar, meaning
Hmm.
it became more stronger as a reserve currency, right?
Hmm.
Because most people were buying oil was most biggest import for everybody. Every country which did not use create its own oil, the biggest import was spending was on oil. So
Okay.
this US the reserve currency,
Hmm.
and it promised US economic stability and growth because all the dollars US was spending on energy, it was coming back as reinvestment into US dollar, and it gave US political clout geopolitically because everyone needed dollars,
Hmm.
and it created a trade balance and deficits, which were
Hmm.
all in favor of US and it gave US energy security. Now,
Okay.
why has Saudi Arabia walked away from this? Is the
Hmm.
question. The
Yeah.
reason why Saudi Arabia has walked away from this is, and it's quite significant,
Hmm.
because US is not dependent on Saudi Arabian oil anymore.
Okay.
US has
So
become
they
an,
have their own oil now.
they have their own oil. They're
Okay.
energy independent. US.
Hmm. Hmm.
Saudi Arabia has no hold. A
Okay.
partnership only works when
Hmm.
both people need each other,
Yeah.
right? So in this case, it has become a one-sided partnership where
Hmm.
US is not buying Saudi oil anymore.
Hmm.
So there's no inflow of Saudi getting dollars anymore. So
Hmm.
it became lopsided,
Hmm.
and it is more and more prevalent because US was not doing things Saudi Arabia wanted regionally also.
Hmm.
All the things regionally Saudi Arabia needed, US is not doing anymore. It's shrugging its shoulder and walking away.
Okay.
So now Saudi Arabia wants to give US something it doesn't want, which is
Hmm.
walking away from petrodollar. That
Yeah.
means now on, Saudi Arabia is not legally bound to receive payments only in dollar.
Hmm.
It can receive payment in any currency or security it wants.
Hmm.
So it can take Chinese currency from China. It can
Hmm.
take Indian currency from India. It can
Okay.
take any currency it wants or any form of security it wants.
Hmm.
And it's already prevalent because recently China they walked into an agreement with China for Chinese digital currency, the Chinese digital
Hmm.
yuan, which China is trying to push. And
Okay.
Saudi needs a lot of investments right now.
Hmm.
Right. And right now, US cannot give those investments because US is spending all its money in Ukraine war.
Mm.
spending all the rest of its money in Israeli war. So US doesn't have too much money for foreign aid and foreign investment. So US is telling Saudi, hey, wait for some time.
Okay.
Saudi is saying, Baba, if you're not interested, there are other people who are interested, like China. So that's the problem. So
Mm.
it is a benefit for India because for India, the biggest thing we are spending our foreign currency,
Okay.
gold, for
Mm.
Indian satisfaction of gold is we're spending a lot of our foreign reserves, dollar
Mm.
reserves, oil.
Okay.
Now we can talk to Russia, we can talk to Saudi Arabia, we can talk to all oil producing countries
Mm.
and say, okay, now we don't have petrodollar anymore.
Mm.
Are you willing to take something from us? Anyway, you need things which we are exporting. So
Mm.
we can come to an agreement where
Okay.
we don't need dollar in this middle of all this agreement. We
Mm.
can come with rupees or whatever currency you want or whatever trade we can negotiate a better deal which is helpful for you and helpful for us.
Mm.
And we can avoid this whole dollar nonsense.
Mm.
This is not good news for US
Mm.
because it starts destabilizing the dollar as a reserve currency. If
Mm.
the world stops using for all its trades
Okay.
dollars, it's not relying on the dollar anymore.
Mm.
Dollar becomes less and less important.
Mm.
And if the dollar becomes less and less important,
Mm.
US will find it very hard to sell its securities, its bonds, the government bonds, where it says, treasury bills saying, here, you take my dollar and I'll give you so much interest. The biggest consumers are all developing countries, and even Japan and China are the largest holders of foreign US debt. So it doesn't make sense for them. They'll start dumping it.
Mm.
This all won't happen overnight. It's
Mm.
not a guarantee it will happen. But like I was talking about in another video, sometimes change doesn't come in one big bang.
Yeah.
Change comes in slowly,
Mm.
bits and pieces start falling away. It's like a marriage.
Mm.
You've been married for 25 years, suddenly you wake up one day and you realize you're not the same people anymore when you got married 25 years ago. Yes, you fell in love, things were very beautiful, and you've been married for 25 years, but suddenly you realize your interest is very different in life, your wife's
Mm.
interest is very different. You guys didn't grow together, you grew separately.
Mm.
And that is what's happening to US and Saudi
Saudi.
Arabia, and US and the rest of the world also. US
Mm.
is not considered the moral compass of the world anymore
Mm.
because of what especially it's been doing with Israel. It's going to find it very hard to convince the rest of the world, listen to us. We
Mm.
are the holders of democracy. The
Okay.
rest of the world is going to say no, Baba. And it's happening all over Europe. You see the resurgence of right wing politics in all over Europe because the US doesn't hold sway anymore.
Mm.
And Donald Trump himself is won the election and looks like he might win again. So it shows how far the US has changed and the world
Mm.
has changed. We're all thinking, is it going to change? Is it going to change? Where we're looking like this, behind
Mm.
us, everything has changed. We're
Yeah.
like stitch in a hole, heads in a hole.
Mm.
Suddenly we pull our heads out and see the world has changed.
Mm.
That's happening. So, but it's good for India because it
Okay.
offers us flexibility in our payments for uh, petrol and oil.
Sir, so recently Russia made the move that they can buy oil in any currency. So as a result, India bought uh, oil from Russia in Indian rupees. So after a point of time, Russia stopped accepting Indian rupee to buy their oil. They said that we don't have anything to buy from you. So do you see that happening in Saudi Arabia? Because lot of the countries do not export.
No, Russia
Uh,
doesn't have anything India doesn't need, but Saudi Arabia doesn't make anything. Saudi
hmm,
Arabia is a desert.
okay.
Rice, dal,
Hmm.
all kinds of meat, chicken,
So
egg.
they have to buy everything from other
They,
countries.
they're starting to make some domestically,
Hmm.
but the demand is not there. And plus, they need to build a lot of infrastructure. That whole city he's building, no. So
Yeah.
India can lend money to build. So India will say,
Hmm.
"Give me dollars.
Hmm.
We'll come and build 5 buildings over there.
Okay.
We'll send L&T. We will send
Hmm.
Bharat BHEL to do some building."
Hmm.
So they'll come to understand it. And even
Hmm.
Russia
Hmm.
would be happy to give India more oil if India says, "Okay, we will supply you a few tanks."
Okay.
Russia will say, "Okay, give us some more rupees. We'll buy these things from you."
Hmm.
So it's all a question of I scratch your back, you scratch my back. Before
Hmm.
we were all scared of US and what
Hmm.
the US might do. But US is losing more and more ground in the world,
Mm.
and it's happening quite fast, where its
Okay.
negotiation powers are going to get depleted very rapidly.
Mm.
Will this lead to change in the world? Eventually, all things change, but is it going to change today, tomorrow? I cannot predict. I cannot see the future. All I can see is what is happening right now. What is
Mm.
happening right now is not good news for the US.
Mm.
US might then lean on Saudi Arabia and do
Mm.
something, because there are things Saudi Arabia, US makes that still Saudi Arabia needs,
Mm.
like all the electronic chips, AI chips
Mm.
are all made in the US, are high quality ones.
Yeah.
So US, in the news recently, US has told these companies, no, don't send to Saudi Arabia right now. Wait
Mm.
for
Mm.
security reasons. So
Okay.
it could be lots of things Saudi Arabia still needs from the US.
Mm.
And Saudi Arabia, the sovereign country itself, owns a lots of assets in the US.
Mm.
And if it had to choose ideologically who will be my friend,
Mm.
US is more ideologically for the royal family friendly than China, because China will be dictating too many things. And
Mm.
China, ideologically, they don't like royal families. They
Mm.
don't like anyone grabbing power, because it
Mm.
goes against communism.
Okay.
They got their own royal family during
Mm.
the 1920s. They killed off the last emperor. There's a movie about it also. The last emperor.
Okay.
So ideologically, you know, in American democracy, the royal family will find some salvation
Mm.
of still hanging around. But in a
Mm.
communist country, they will not want communist ideas to take root in Saudi Arabia or in the Middle East,
Mm.
the royal families at least. So it is all really complicated. Sometimes
Mm.
people, countries do things in the power to negotiate.
Okay.
So we'll wait and watch what happens.
Mm.
But for US sake, this Palestinian Gaza war, the sooner
Mm.
it comes to a conclusion,
Mm.
the better for them, because then they'll be able to somehow push these people around on the table. Right now, its hands are tied because of what Israel is doing. So
Mm.
everyone is sitting and waiting for Netanyahu to either move away or realize what he's doing is crazy.
Mm.
Because more and more countries now, especially in Europe, like Norway, Spain, and all that, have recognized Palestine as a country.
Mm.
This would have been unimaginable 3, 4 years ago. No
Okay.
one had ever seen would say Western European countries would recognize Palestine as a country going
Mm.
against Israel. Now
Mm.
it's happening. Lots and
Mm.
lots of countries are recognizing.
Okay.
The world is changing.
Mm.
So we have interesting times.
Transformation.
Yes. But there's going to be opportunities. As an investor, there are always opportunities.
Mm.
Market uncertainties releases, market free fall will happen. When these
Mm.
free fall happens, you're investing in businesses, you're not investing in countries.
Yeah.
So you see these businesses, defensive stocks especially,
Mm.
will always be there. People still need to eat, people still need to wear clothes. So
Mm.
those companies will always be there. And
Okay.
you've seen companies like Volkswagen, even Fanta, Coca-Cola survive World War One and World War Two.
Mm.
So these companies will survive.
Okay.
And when investors get scared and they dump it, it'll be a great time for you to walk in with your shopping bag and buy.
Mm. Okay. So I hope that this video is informative and you had some knowledge about petrodollar agreement and does it have any impacts on the Indian economy. So if you like this video, please share it with your friends and subscribe to this channel for more videos. See you in another episode with an interesting topic. Thanks for watching the video.
Thank you.